Stefan, the BMW DIY guy. My project today is the Bootmod3 Wireless OBD adapter. And that is a mouthful to say, right? But this is a really cool device that's going to give me the ability to wirelessly connect my Bootmod3 client to my car. I got this from Keys Motorsports, which is a fantastic place to get all of your needs for your upgrades and performance mods for your car. But the other thing I really want to show today, beyond just how to run the cable and get this routed under your armrest, is the integration into my AvinUSA 10.25 inch Android display. Now, running this off your phone is really straightforward, really simple. It's the same thing for the Android display, but that's the cool thing. So without having to have your phone or put it in a little mount on your dash, you can have this running natively in your display and have it at all times, which is really cool. So that's something that I'm most excited about, and I'm really excited to show you. So let's get out to the car, let's get this simple install done and show you how you can integrate all of this technology into your car too. All right, we're out here in the car. I've got everything I need. It's only a couple of simple tools to do this work. I'm just going to use my trusted plastic trim tool I've used a million times, 10mm socket. You can do it with just about anything. And then I've got my Protuning Freaks OBD wireless module. This is really cool. This is going to give me the ability to connect my phone and my Avin display, which I'm really excited to show you. So you can use either. So if you've got your phone, great, or if you've got an Avin Android display like I do, you can use it as well. And I've already confirmed it works, so I want to show you how it's going to work for you. So you could have logging in your car without even pulling your phone out, which is pretty cool. The other thing that I picked up is I picked up a flat OBD extension. Now the advantage of this is a lot longer than I need, right? Because I'm really only going to go from about here up through behind the dash. So you could buy a short one. The other thing I liked about this is that the plug where it's going to go to my OBD port is flat. Where you look at the cable, a lot of the cables you'll get are these big flat or big tall cables, which you're not going to want to have plugged in all the time. You're going to kick it. So this is going to be nice and flat. Will fit up flush up against the OBD port, and then will be routed back behind. So really, this is super simple. Take your plastic trim tool, open up this little side door right here, just pry at the edge of it and it'll come up. You don't have to take it out. All you have to do is just pry it up enough and it'll sit open so you can get your hands back in here to route cables. The other thing you can do is there are two 10mm nuts right here and right here on this lower kick plate. So we're going to pull those off and then just pull this plate down. You don't need to take it and pull it out. All we're going to do is just get enough space to route our cabling, because we're going to route our cabling underneath this kick plate here, around underneath, and then up to our cable extension. The other thing I've done is I've run my seat back, because we're going to feed this up into the center console, which is how we're going to power the OBD device. So let me take my 10mm, let me get this plate off, and then I'm going to show you routing the cable. All right, so here we are looking in the accessory tray. Now yours may look a little bit different. I still have my rubber matting in here that I've used because I've got my add-in QI charger that I did. I still got the video on that. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull up this little tray where your USB port and your aux port is, right? Now, it may be loose enough that you can get your fingers in here. Mine isn't. So again, I'm going to use my plastic trim tool and just work it up into the crack right here. And then just gently pull up. So now this is loose and you can see the space down underneath. Because what we're going to do is we're going to feed the cable up right here, and this needs to be loose. So that's good. Now what we're going to do is on the kick plate on this side, we're going to get a little bit of gap. Now you can use a hanger. You could use something to fish with. You can run a hanger down and have it come out the side between the guard, your plastic center console and the carpet. You could also use your trim tool, get it up underneath, and then just turn your trim tool to get a little bit of space. Because all you have to do is get some space right here by your seat belt, because the seat belt's right here. Get a little bit of space, and we're going to feed this cable up. So let me get this jammed in here and get a little bit of space in, and then I'm going to show you about how we feed this cable up and make sure that we've got enough room. Because we want to make sure we've got just enough room stuck out this side of the Ethernet side of that cable to plug in nicely for the OBD device. Okay, now that you've got a little bit of gap in between your plastic and the carpet right there, because like I said, I took my plastic trim tool, slid it in, and then turned it sideways just to create a gap. I've taken the Ethernet plug side of my OBD cable and fed it up underneath. You can just fit it up underneath there, and then once you've got it underneath, all you have to do is just feed it in a couple of inches, and then you can find the other end with your fingers, just like that, okay? Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna feed it out this side of the tray. But don't snap your tray down yet, because you want to make sure you've got enough cable length. You want just enough, right? You want your OBD device to lay in here really nicely when it's plugged into your USB port, which is just enough to power it, and just enough cable. So you don't want too much or too little. So I'm not going to snap this down until the very end. So now let's get back and look all along this side, because all I'm going to do is feed the OBD cable up underneath the plastic and around. I've got my lower kick plate off. I'll show you that. And we're really close to done. Like I said, this is really easy. I'm excited to get this installed, and then I can also show it on my phone, and I can show it on the Avin display in the center of my console. All right, so as you can see, my OBD cable's hanging right here, so I've fed it under a little bit of the plastic. Then all you have to do is just continue just to feed it up and along, really simply until you get to the end of this plastic trim piece right here. My kick panel plate is down, as you can see. One thing really quickly, when you pull it down, you'll see you've got a big rectangular hole and a big rectangle right here that this plate goes around. That's your lower airbag, so make sure you don't have anything that goes across that. You don't want that to be the case. So when we run this cable, we're gonna run it, I'm gonna run it in front, because there's lots of extra space in front of the airbag right there, so I'm not gonna have any issues about that. So let's look at our extension cable. So we're gonna plug this in to our OBD port, right there. So the other end is going to go, into the OEM port right here. Now the other thing I bought is I bought the one with a pass-through plug. So if I ever need to plug in something else while all of this is plugged in, I don't need to unplug the cable. I can just plug it straight in. So all you need to do now is just really nicely route the cable up in front of that airbag. You can tuck the cable up and away, right? And make sure that it's all tucked away so it doesn't get in any places, isn't gonna rattle, which I really just I hate rattles personally. And that's a big plug. So I'm gonna route it around and take this and plug it in into the OBD port right here. So now that's all plugged in all nice and neatly. So all I need to do is just route the cable. Now if need be, you can route it and tuck it up really, really high. Depending on the length of your cable, you may or may not need this side port right here, but as we route this cable up, you can actually see the space right here. So you can route the extra cabling up and zip tie it down or attach it down nicely in this space where that's covered by this little port. And if you tuck it up and away, it can be fine too. So now the only thing you need to do is just get your kick plate back on. Now you might see an extra cable hanging here. This is because I've got a sub control right here. So if you're like, I don't have that extra cable, that's okay. So all you need to do now is just walk this plate back up into place and put your 10 millimeter nuts back on, and then close this plate down, and you're all good to go. So I'm going to make sure that my cabling is laid out really, really nicely, and then we're going to plug in the Wi-Fi device. We're going to make sure that our center console is set up well and we've got enough cable length so it'll lay nicely, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like to run this. All right, I just want to show the device in place. I actually gave myself a little bit of extra cable in this case because I have my QI charger here, my wireless charger, so I want to be able to have enough room that I can lift this up a little bit to slide my phone underneath and put it down and still close the lid. So if I didn't have that, or this was deeper, I probably would have shortened the cable a little bit so I would sit down even further and just lay there. So as you can see, it's plugged into my USB, it's plugged into the Ethernet cable, and actually the lights are already blinking, as you can see, that are on, and they're blinking for the Ethernets, which is great. So this is up and running now, so it works perfectly. So let me change my camera angle. I'm gonna start, I wanna show what it looks like on my Avin display, which for me is really, this is the coolest thing for me. Phone is awesome and I like it, and that will always be my go-to if I need it, and it has one or two advantages, but the ability to have the gauges and display and logging natively off my display is gonna be amazing. So let me reset my camera, let me kill some reflection, and then I wanna show you what this looks like. All right, here we are looking at the Avin display. I'm going to freehand the camera, so forgive me if it moves around a little bit. I just want to make sure to give you a good angle and a good view. If you're running the Avin display, this is the 9.1 with the latest update, so my dashboard looks a little bit different. It's changed over time. If you are running the Avin, make sure you have the latest version, so if you've got the 9.1. All right, so a couple of things you're going to want to do first. Now, if you have cellular connectivity with your Avin, and have like a cell SIM in, you can have internet access and be running the hotspot at the same time. I don't, so I'm running Wi-Fi. So what you're going to want to do is launch the Bootmod3 client once with internet connectivity, whether that's through Wi-Fi or through cellular, and sign in once. So it's going to cache your information, okay? So then you go into your settings, you go into your network and internet, you go to your hotspot and tethering, and there you can see it shows one device connected, so I've already got it set up, right? So you go into your hotspot and you want to name your hotspot name Bootmod3 and put the password to Bootmod3. That way that it will connect to the device and vice versa. As you can see, my Wi-Fi is off because my hotspot tethering is on. I do have a SIM card in, but it was as a test. So if you're like, hey, wait a minute, you show that you've got connectivity. It was just a test that I have in, and it was a temporary account. All right, so with all of that running, go back to your applications, go ahead and look at Bootmod. I'm really excited about this personally. This is, for me, really a killer app to be running on this. The ability to have all of these gauges, your logging, change my tune, do everything I need to do here off my native display. Now, again, you can do this all off your phone, which is fine, but I'm really excited by the fact of being able to do this here natively, right? That makes me super happy. So you can see logging's running, you can see my gauges are currently running. I'm going to customize what gauges I want here. You can run logging by double clicking, essentially double tapping on any of the gauges. Okay, so I actually triple tapped in that case, double, and then an additional one to turn it off, right? But you've got a touch screen that you can run everything you want to run here, which is great. You can look at your diagnostics, so if you needed to reset any codes or look at anything that's going on there, you can adjust your exhaust flap and all the options here that you've got within Bootmod. The other option that you've got, which is really cool, is that you can adjust your maps too. Now, I've not loaded my maps here because all I did was sign in and the display is currently offline. I would do this if I was in dashboard and logging mode, right? So that works great. What you're going to want to make sure to do though, like I said before, is have that internet connectivity, make sure that it's got copies of all your maps and everything that you need, so if you need to change on the fly. But the biggest thing for me is being able to do this real time out on the road natively with my display. And the display is bigger. So instead of having my phone, sitting up here on a holder or something similar, I've got a 10.25 inch display that shows everything that I need to look at. So I'm really excited for this. For me, this was just a no-brainer to add this now that I'm running Bootmod3. So I wanted to show this to you and show you all the cool stuff you can do if you've got both the Avin display and the Bootmod3. And, or just run it off your phone. You can do the same thing. All right, all cleaned up and put away. As you can see, this is really a cool addition to have in my car. The Bootmod3 is a fantastic tune, and this wireless OBD brings a level of technology here that adds some integration that's really great, and I'd love to be able to integrate it with my Android display as well. That way I have logging, can flash my tunes, edit everything natively right there. Plus, I like the fact that my logging display is bigger. So instead of having my phone turn sideways or landscape or put in a little clip on my vents, I like having it in my display right there. It's a logical place to have it. If you like what you've seen, please click the little alarm bell and subscribe so you get caught up on all my latest videos. Below in the description are all the links to Keys Motorsports for this adapter and anything else that I've used today. I look forward to seeing you on my next video.